And with the 21st pick in the 1983 NFL Draft, your Pittsburgh Steelers have chosen none other than hometown hero, Dan Marino. It's going to make for an interesting training camp in Latrobe with four-time ring winner Terry Bradshaw returning, along with Cliff Stout and Mark Malone in the wings. Who stays? Who goes? Is Dan Marino the face of the 80s Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, now I'm not sure if I'm going to replay just the 83 Steelers season or make it a completely fictitious run for Dan Marino all the way through to the 99 season. What do you think? You know, it's interesting because we know that Cliff Stout, who led the Steelers, the 83 Steelers had a good record. You know, the early 80s Steelers were doing pretty well. Cliff Stout led the Steelers to a 9-2 start before Bradshaw came in against the Jets and blew out his arm for once and for all with those after that couple of touchdown passes. In fact, Bradshaw is not even carded in this set. Mark Malone is an XF, you can tell by the square cards there. It's the original 83 season. Now, certainly Bradshaw will be carded in the recalculated 83 set whenever that's released. But, you know, now, of course, we know in 1984, Cliff Stout jumped to the USFL. The Steelers lost Franco Harris to the Seahawks, unbelievably, kind of like Dorsett going to the Broncos. And none other than Dave Woodley came over from Miami. Now, remember, Woodley had led the Dolphins to Super Bowl 17 in that strike-shortened 82 season. Of course, they lost to the Redskins. In 84, Woodley ends up joining the Steelers. Maybe he joins Marino as his backup in Pittsburgh. And meanwhile, Mark Malone wasn't a bad quarterback either. And yes, that EB is correct. He did some wide receiving work. You know, Malone led the 84 Steelers to the victory against the 84 Niners, the eventual Super Bowl champions, and eventually lost to Marino in that AFC Championship game in 84 before Marino and the Dolphins went on to lose to the Niners. And I've replayed that game and actually came out 44-14 San Francisco, which is incredible. You know, it's just a couple points here and there, but eventually the same outcome. So what do you think? Do you also think it would be in particularly poor taste if I made a Gabe Rivera card and somehow the Steelers retained him and he went on to a good career? Leave that up to you folks. But Dan Marino, now maybe I'll use some of Brian Davis's, quick score game engine here to play out some teams, maybe just to play out some seasons, maybe give the Steelers a bit of a Marino boost. I haven't used Brian Davis's quick score game, so if anyone has any tips on that, let me know. We're still pursuing an interview with Brian, and in any case, could be fun. Of course, you know I really want to get Dan Marino behind or under center for the 95 Steelers in that Super Bowl 30. Other than that, you know, we'll see what happens. Could be fun. Just another project on the plate.